This is a predominantly knitting, increasingly spinning, occasionally crochet, and whatever other weird crafty things I get into channel. Also a lot of chaos, always chaos. Welcome. I am wearing my literary shawl in the grunge tonals from the Frosted Stitch, which I showed off in the previous episode. This is not a hand knit, but skulls. Yes. I thought I totally prepped myself to record today, but I forgot one of the main FOs I wanted to show. So it is. Okay, so the way I've been operating, the way I've been following things is I have a set amount of projects that I work on for each month. For the month of April, the projects I was working on were the Beltane socks, the now called Boogie socks by Things Beth Makes, the Venlo tank, which is a sample for the Frosted Stitch, and my book shawl, which is a crochet scrappy project. So I have a couple of FOs. One would be the Venlo. So the Venlo is a tank top that was seamed. There was a front and a back panel and then two side panels done in tuck stitch. I knit this as a sample for the Frosted Stitch using Seether and Courtney from the Grunge collection. So this is Courtney. Where's Seether? Seether is, I'm looking at the wrong end. Seether's the purple one. There it is. This is Seether. It's all done. I seamed the whole thing. And I forgot it at home. Because I have it in a bag, specially set up and ready to bring to Krista that I didn't want to forget. It turned out great. I'm very impressed with myself because I don't do a lot of seaming. I don't enjoy a lot of seaming, and I think I did a decent job. I do have two other FOs though. So one is a pair of socks that I was test knitting for Things Beth Makes. So they have now been named the Boogie socks. So this is knit out of the Frosted Stitch. The main color is Nickel Bonus. This is Courtney again. And on close up, you can see the duplicate stitch that is in Or. So the design has a little bit of color work at the top and around the toe. And there's a textured pattern to make these little ghosts. There's also duplicate stitch highlighting the eyes and the pipe. And then we have one full duplicate stitch ghost close to the heel. It's only on one side of each sock. So if you choose, you can wear them on the outside of each foot when you have it. So there is a left and a right of these socks. I chose, so this should have been in the Courtney color as per the pattern. I chose to do a fun little pop of neon to really make this go stand out. Probably for the best because I would have run out of yarn had I used Courtney to do it. So this pattern is coming out, I believe, May 2nd. And it is meant to accompany the Frosted Stitch Botanical Garden color for the month of May. So there are subscription options that come with Best Pattern. If you got that option, you'll be getting this pattern. Very fun little thing. Lots of options for ways to customize it. Some of the test knitters did kind of swapping of colors, so toes are different colors, and heels are swapped and whatnot. So lots of ways that you can make it your own. My other pair of socks that I finished are my Beltane socks. So these have, let's see if I can adjust. Oh, you can see that. So they've got a twisted rib pattern combined with cables. This is a pattern by Louise Tilbrook, and I knit it using the Professor Sprout yarn color from Bumblebee Acres. I ended up doing a FLK heel. This time I went cuff down doing it, so it's my second time doing FLK. I had previously done it on my January socks, and in those I used it toe up. So now I've done FLK both directions in sock knitting. I just really like how it fits. I'm actually surprised because I thought I was a tried and true, you know, heel flap gusset girl, but I really like how this fits. So I'll probably be incorporating it in a lot more patterns now. Plus it would be a lot of fun to use on like self-strapping yarn where you don't want to interrupt the pattern instead of doing like the afterthought heel. Yeah. So technically 3 FOs. I can't show you the other one. I do have my book shawl here with me. There's not a lot of progress on it. I've got needles poking all over the place here. There we go. So I've been working on the I-cord edge, and I think I've done maybe 2 inches in the past month. I'm still on the one side. I don't even think I'm halfway there. No, not halfway. But that's okay. I'm not in a rush for this, and I've been doing a lot of other stuff. So, the Beltane socks were my new cast on for April. The Boogie socks were a whip. The Venla was my extra bonus sample knit. This is my scrappy project. It's still going to be my scrappy project. And over April, I did cast on a test knit. Unfortunately, this is another one that I can't show. But it is a test knit for Lily Kate Makes, and I am testing the Calm Night Cami. The Calm Night Cami is a hybrid between 2 of Lily Kate's patterns. It's a combination between the Tonight top and the Calm Down cardigan pullover. So I had tested the Tonight top last year. The sleeveless top with kind of a tight armhole. It's got sort of a crew turtleneck, and it is sleeveless. I had knit that one out of Bishy Bish lamb's wool and cashmere. I love the fit of it. Beautifully done. So this is essentially the same body. The main difference with the Calm Night Cami is that it's got a V-neck. So I've now joined the front to the back, and I've got about 1.5 inches done after the join. And I'm knitting it with, shocker, more frosted stitch. And this color is going to be released at the end of May, which is kind of perfect because the pattern from Lily Kate will be released on June 1st. So next recording I can show it off, and by then it should be a finished object. So for the month of May, my focus projects, again, we've got the scrappy bookshelf project that I'll be working on. My whip going into May will be that Calm Night Cami test, and I will have a new cast on I am clearly loving knitting socks, and I'm okay with that. I have a ton of sock yarn, so I'm happy to use it up. So for May, I'll be casting on the Summer Solstice Socks by Ellie Putz. It is a free pattern. It's kind of a lacy pattern. It looks like fairly repetitive, doesn't look too complex, so just kind of a little bit extra over a vanilla sock. And to make these, I plan on using this yarn from Camp Fiber Yarns. It's called Monster Cookie. So it totally looks like those Smarties cookies, right? With the colors. So it should knit up somewhat similarly to this, which is just so perfect for spring. These little pops of color. So this should have more flashes of color, but sort of the similar effect. So I'm hoping it won't be too much of a distraction with the lace pattern, but really, I don't mind a variegated yarn. I'm using a variegated yarn for the Calm Night cami, and it's gorgeous. Yeah, it's very much what I typically like, and I think people are going to go wild when this color comes out. Yeah. Always great things coming from Frosted Stitch, always. Yes, so for a change, I've only got 3 focus projects for the month of May. So, the Summer Solstice Socks as my new cast on, the Calm Night cami as my whip, and that book shawl as my scrappy project. I may potentially be doing another sample for the Frosted Stitch. We'll see what happens. I don't have a great deal of acquisitions. This past weekend was a local yarn store day, and I actually resisted going to any of them. I had that moment of temptation and thought, you know what? I don't need anything. Yeah. I've very much in the past while kind of been realizing how much stash I have. And not just that, but like that I actually do want to take the time and knit up those yarns that I've bought. There's not a lot that I want to get rid of. And I just don't need more. And I say that having new yarn in my hands. So, talking about the Frosted Stitch Botanical Garden Collection, the pattern here, the boogie sock from Things Beth Makes, was designed for this color. So this is Ghost Pipe, hence the pipe smoking ghost in the sock pattern. It's a very subtle yarn. We've had so many bright, colorful ones, and this one kind of takes it down. I really love it. So it's got, let me see if I can adjust this here. So it's got sort of a sandy color on a white base with these streaks of gray. This would make a lovely garment. I only got the one ball of sock yarn. That's probably for the best. But this will be going on sale, I believe, May 1st. Though it is not out yet, you can still order it. That is all the yarn I purchased in the month of April. But I submit my grades, and the deal that I had made with myself was that I could order my spinning wheel once I submit my grades. And I got my wheel on Friday. I absolutely love it. I ended up getting a Ashford Kiwi. put it all together. That was a bit of an adventure. It took about 2 hours to put it all together. But I've been having a lot of fun getting a feel for it, playing around with it. It's really, really been great. And it's made me probably contemplate a slightly unrealistic idea, but I've named my spinning wheel Rosalba, aka Rosie, in honor of my great-great-grandmother, whose spinning wheel is still in my family. So it's something that I saw growing up. Nobody ever used it. It was basically just a decoration. It apparently has gone through several paint jobs, and then at one point my grandfather restored it and stained it beautifully. And it's still a decoration in a family member's household. But now knowing and having an idea as to how spinning wheels actually function, I really want to check out my great-great-grandmother's wheel and see if I can spin something on it. According to family members, again, they don't know anything about spinning, but they think that it is complete. Obviously, it will need a drive band, and that's easy to put together, but I would really like to check it out, see what would be necessary to make it usable, and actually spin something off of it. I don't even care if it's something good, just to, maybe it's the archaeologist inside of me, but I definitely feel like, you know, people kind of imbue parts of themselves on objects, and I think as makers, that's something that we kind of understand, that there's a little piece of whoever made that thing, whoever used the object, and it would just be so cool. So cool to be the first person in over 100 years to actually spin on that wheel. So that's the little plan that I've been cooking up in the past little while. You know, having a whole 3 days experience on an actual spinning wheel. But, yeah. In preparation of getting the wheel, a few weeks ago I went to a very small fiber fest in a neighboring town, and I picked up a bunch of 50/50 alpaca wool Rolags. And this is what I've been playing with on the new wheel so far. This bag was full. There's still quite a lot in it. They're mostly white with some red bits, and there is some sparkle in there. So I've been playing with this. It's been a lot of fun. And when I ordered my wheel, I ordered it from the Fiber Imp. And I got this little package of 3 braids. They're also alpaca blends, but blue, purple, and green. They might work out really well in combo with the other 2 braids I'd gotten last month. But yes, right now I'm all about the spinning. It is kind of interfering with my knitting time, but that's okay. It's still fiber arts, and it's all about having fun and creating something. Yeah. My cat actually really loves the wheel too. She comes up beside me while I'm spinning, all purring and rubbing up against me, and then settles up beside me. I'll have to bring one of her beds so she can settle. It's very cute. Yeah. I don't know what it is, if it's like the sound of the wheel that she feels comforting or what. But yes, the wheel has been the big obsession because it's shiny and new, and I absolutely love it. So probably a good thing that I only have 3 main projects that I'm focusing on for the month of May. I do have to finish that test. I will hopefully finish my sock, and then we'll see what June brings. Beyond all of that, the term finished early in April. I only had 2 classes, and one class had a final report, the other class had an exam. That's all done. Obviously, I got them all graded, and that's done and over with. It's kind of surreal to be finishing the academic year in my first year in a full-time teaching role. So now this summer it'll be research and working with colleagues and cooking up a bunch of stuff, which I'm really excited about. It's definitely sinking in that I'm here permanently. I don't have to apply for a job every couple of months. Yeah, that permanency is just really comforting. I believe that last month I was still working on The Indifferent Stars Above, the book having to do with the Donner Party. I did finish that book. It's hard to say that something of that nature is enjoyable. It was interesting to get more depth on the history. So many of the survivors lived pretty tragic lives, and some of it's probably a product of the times and the fact that most of the survivors were women, and women in the 1800s didn't enjoy the most luxurious and comfortable lives. I believe that's the only book I finished. I have been reading 2 other books. One is Red River Girl, about the death and the investigation around the death of Tina LaFontaine in Winnipeg. It's been really interesting to get more information about the investigation. It's really incredible, the effort that went into finding Tina's killer. Where I am now, they are holding Cormier in jail. Yes, they had caught him on another charge, and they were questioning him, and they're starting to kind of put the pieces together to bring charges against him. It took so much to put the pieces together, and a big part of it had to do with the fact that they were dealing with people who were more kind of transient in society, and that gave a lot of complications. Yeah. I don't seem to stray too far from my work areas of interest, but it is nice in that it informs some of what I talk to my students about. I often do talk about the Drag the Red project over in Winnipeg. That's a grassroots organization by volunteers who are trying to recover remains in the Red River because they think that there may be more. And there have been a lot of, especially Indigenous women, who have been recovered in the Red River, so there's justification behind it. Yeah. The other book I'm reading, L'Incendiaire de Sudbury, is one that I got off of a reading list when I decided, okay, I do need to read more French books. And so this was a finalist for last year's Radio-Canada Concours des Livres. And they break down their categories or books that are championed by regions in Canada. So they had one that was representing Ontario, and this book was it. And obviously Sudbury's in the title. Sudbury is where I live, it's where I grew up, and that's where the book takes place. And it's kind of funny because where the main character lives, I had a friend who lived basically across the street from there, so I know the area quite well. And she describes various parts of downtown in Sudbury that clearly it's somebody who lived here, because it is quite accurate. And yeah, it certainly talks about some of the weird idiosyncrasies in Sudbury. It's hard to tell where exactly the book is going. We have a flawed narrator, the main character, that she's got some sketchy things in her past. But then, after having originally lived in Montreal, she moved to Sudbury for sort of a fresh start. And then a bunch of people have started to disappear. And she's thinking it may be linked to a researcher at the university doing some sort of weird tests on people, or maybe getting rid of people. But yeah. So, interesting. I'll see how it goes. But it's definitely an enjoyable read, and it's fun to kind of dip my toes into reading in French again. So reading, spinning, knitting, I think that's basically all that's been going on. I started some seeds yesterday. For the past couple of years, I have a garden in my backyard. We don't get too much that grows successfully, mostly zucchini. A couple of years we've had peas and some beets. So we planted a bunch of seeds, particularly more zucchini, beets, radishes, carrots, peas, and tomatoes. So we'll see if we have any success. Last year my seedlings did not grow at all. I don't know what happened to them. So we're trying something a little different to see if that'll do better. I most definitely do not have a great thumb. That is my mother's skill. I'm very good at killing plants. So I'm amazed I've had any success in the garden at all. But now I'm at the point where I'm, transitioning into the summer pattern of work. I'm trying to get into a routine. Anticipate spinning a lot, and clearly I'll be working on those anticipated patterns or projects for the month of May. Beyond that, nothing planned, kind of open to whatever comes along, whatever might be interesting. And that is really it. Do you have any plans for the summer? Let me know. What are interesting things that you have up in the air and coming up? I'm very happy that I'll be gainfully employed. It is kind of weird concept to me to have to schedule vacation time. It is certainly something I'll have to do, but I'll also be working on quite a few projects this summer. Not just knitting, actually, work projects. But yes, I'm going to stop there. Have a great day wherever you are. Thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate anybody who comes along and watches my crazy ramble. I will see you next month.